Good evening. I've been discussing about the lecture method in teaching. A lecture method is the educational presentation which is usually delivered by the teacher or professor or instructor or facilitator to the group of listeners or students or participants in the use of the instructional aids and training device. Uh, then PowerPoint, books, and so many others. Lectures are useful for the presentation of new materials, which is the summarized ideas showing the relationship between the theory and practice. In lecture matters, the teachers orally the materials of course is organized to the students and going from theory to examples and back again. That is the deductive and inductive methods. Lecture may contain the varying level of students. They have different levels of the knowledge. Also in the participants and notes the generally taken. And lecture method is the oldest method of the most basic pedagogic tools. Although experience and educational research shows that the lecture is the less effective than the activity methods. Learning by doing methods, generally at school levels. And many teachers find themselves spending at least 30 to 50% of their teaching and time lecturing. Lecture method is less emphasis on the presentation of contents. The teacher is more active, but the students are passive. But she also use the questions and answers to keep them attentive in the class for the students, participants. It is used to motivate, clarify, expand, and review the information. Lecture as a method of instruction displays the enormous weight and attention on teacher or professor. Unlike the other vectors, there is no hiding place for the teacher. In lecture methods, for teacher or for professor, there is no hiding place. The spotlight of on the teacher sees the center attention of for the many students. It is the lecturer rather than the lecture content that is the greatest interest. Teacher or professor is the center of the attention. If the lecture method is to be that is the successful, the teacher must be aware that lecture requires great attention, hard work, creativity, and certain types of personality on the part of the performer. The use of the lecturing depends on the subject matter and the teaching philosophy of the teaching and the overall learning situation. Formal lecturing is used largely to build up the basic theoretical knowledge which must be gained before the practice skills. If the number of students in the class is large, the teaching resource are scarcity or limited number of periods are available uh, on the timetable. The lecturing may be the only alternative. In, in this case, the number of students in the class is large and teaching resources are scarcity or the number of periods are available on the timetable is limited. In this three condition, lecture may be the only the alternative. In other process, we can't do this. So, advantage and some disadvantage of the lecture methods. First of all, I am discussing about the advantage of lecture methods of teaching. In this teaching method, large amount of topic can be covered in single class period. I have already told you, and some of this method exclude the using of any equipment or lab. We can teach without any equipment or laboratory from the lecturing methods. learning material is not required. For the uh, learning by doing methods in gene Piaget, that the learning materials are required. But in the lecturing methods, learning materials are non-required, not required. A student's listening skills develop from the lecture method. The listening skills of the students is developed. Logical arrangement of the materials in order to present it orally. It is the logical arrangement of materials uh, to present orally. So, help to learn also in the language. But some disadvantage of the lecture method teaching. For example, psychologically, this method acceptable because individuals are not alike. Teachers delivers the same lectures to both students without recognizing the individual difference. The students have individual difference. In the lecture method, the teacher delivers the same lecture. So it is the one disadvantage of the lecture method. Learning an active process, the study should encourage to actively participate in the classroom instead of just listening the teacher. In the class, the students just listening or participant just listening. Language using the lecture is a more advanced or the above the standard of the students, they are not able to get full advantage of the lecture. If the language of the teacher or professor is the more advanced, that is the students can't understand fully. In this case, the students cannot able to advantage from the lecture method. Lectures are often forgotten by the students soon after the learning of the retained if the activities are experienced. The learning by the lecturing methods, the students forgotten uh, immediately or in short time. But the learning from the learning by doing, that is the retained, retained for long time. This is also another disadvantage of the lecture method. At last, the attention level is not the same with the student listening the lecture. Attention level of this is not the same while the students listening the lecture. Thank you for listening uh, and your uh, patience.